All right, folks, welcome back to Street City Studio. If you're new here, welcome for the first time. I'm John. We got a short video today, hopefully. I got a couple new toys to open. It hasn't happened very often lately, and especially not these epic World of Action figures, but that's what we got today. I got Venom and Miles Morales and Ghost Spider. And you won't really hear me get too excited about these cheaper lines very often. But they do, Marvel is dabbling with putting some figures out. I like the Fantastic Four set and that Galactus I really like. So I'm just trying to, at least pick up a few fillers that I still need. Now they did do Marvel Infinites Miles Morales that I should probably pick up eventually. Came with a little backpack, I think. But it's probably a upgrade from this, that's for sure. I haven't got one to compare, but this one will fill the spot until I get a better one, better option. And I know even like Blokey's is coming out with some better options soon and stuff like that. And Venom, I almost passed on Venom, but when I was looking at him, I really like that long tongue, the classic design. And he's got real thick arms, real thick forearms and wrists, big hands. And I kind of like that tendril, right? So for $8, I thought, why not, right? But not just because of the lack of having them in 3 3/4 exactly. I got some movie options for Venom there, but I don't have any other options for either of these two right now in 3 3/4. So, but really, if you've been following me, I picked up this Marvel Legends spot figure not too far back here, right? And he's missing 2 hands, I think, but I do have the little stand with spot teleporting Miles. Then I've got the figure here with these hands are basically, he's not punching hands, but you can be throwing some spots around like that. It works well. But basically, I needed some figures to go with him. Right? He was just kind of on his own. There we go. That's cool. And now this Miles on the spot stand. That's not going to scale well with this. But even on that note, this one has all the red lines on the webbing. No, that's not really focusing, is it? That's alright. We'll get a better look at them when I get them out of the box. But I'll probably pause it while I do all that, right? We don't need to watch me break into these guys. That's not even very impressive packaging or anything. The toys aren't super impressive or anything, so we'll just pause it, break into them, and cut right back here in a second. Alright, I have not gotten very far, but I already wanted to come right back and say, like, this figure looks really good, the Ghost Spider, Spider-Gwen. But it's not very articulated, and something I've already noticed, I didn't love these purple webs, even in the packaging, because they're purple. But as I've tried to position it here and play with it to get it on her wrist, it really doesn't want to stay. Like, it's a stiff plastic, and she's a stiff plastic, and neither of them wants to conform to the other. So I just, as soon as you let it go, it pops right off, even if you get it to spread. So at some point, one of them's going to break, I think. So I'm not even going to play with that much. That's gone. And probably his too. Right? I'm not going to be super thrilled with his. I'm mostly worried about Venom's little tendril here, but we'll get to it in a second. Alright, Miles' webbing is not quite as bad. You can see here, I got it to stay on his wrist. But basically, if you can look at them side by side there, his wrist mount is a lot thinner, right? So it's a little springier, right? It's just a narrow bracelet. This is like a whole gauntlet. So that one pops on a little better. I don't know that it'll get a lot of use. I might give it to a Ghost Spider here, because I don't know why they gave these funny colored webs to them. Let me see here. I got another one. Right. Miles doesn't use any kind of funny purple webbing. Right, I know some characters like Spider-Man 2099. There we go. Something like that's better. Right, Spider-Man 2099 might be depicted with those laser webbings, red laser web, right? But neither of these should. They're not bad sculpts. I kind of like the sculpt. It looks like a good little web zip sculpt. And even this one's not terrible. It's a little more lasso loop-de-loop going on there, but they're not bad sculpts. I just don't love that color for either of these characters, right? We'll get into Venom now. Alright, there's Venom. And now he's got the same problem with his little web attachment, tendril attachment there. It's real stiff plastic, so it's real hard to get on his wrist. It feels like if you do it enough times, the tendril is probably gonna break at some point. Pop it out there, right? Yeah, okay. I don't know if you can see it real well, but the plastic's already starting to white. See it? See that line? Right there, that white line. So a couple more times and this thing's gonna pop. It'll break right there. Just like I said with the other one, I didn't want to break it, but they're cheap. They're $8, right? I kind of expected them to be cheap. But that's a very decent looking Venom. I like the classic clean logo. Just a couple little tendrils popping off his shoulders there. They probably do hinder his arm movement, so that's not awesome. They could have moved him maybe to a better position. Maybe a little lower, or one a little higher on his neck or something. But I do like, I like that he's got toes. Right? Venom's supposed to have barefoot look like Skeletor in them, right? I mean, sometimes he's been depicted with like more of a booted look, but I think he looks more monstrous with the barefoot look. But one of the reasons I got him, like I said, he's got the real gorilla look with them thick wrists, the long tongue. That's a decent Venom. And he didn't have much to do with this whole spot situation, but he was there, and ultimately I did decide to get him too, just because he was cool enough for $8, I guess. But much more expensive than $8, and I probably would have passed on any of these. One of the things that really bugs me is that the wrist articulation allows for her to bend, well, all of them really, but especially for positions like web slinging, right? To web sling, you got to pull that arm out straight. And so, for example, if you wanted her to shoot from the hip, right, you can't have her hand lay horizontally. It's got to go vertically like that. So really, she can't shoot from the hip because that's a funny look. Right? Same with Miles. Right? No wrists, limited elbows. So if he shoots from the hip, it's real sideways there. Right? You gotta draw his arm out all the way. Like that. And then if you put any bend to it, he looks like he's got broken arm syndrome in the wrong angles, right? Starts to look funny. But, like I said, they're good stand-ins. They'll do the trick. You can stick them here around the spot. Have them fighting a little bit. And for $8, they're good placeholders. Right? Till you get something better, I guess. Or if I never get something better, then they'll just hold that place forever. That'll work. Pull Venom out here, you can't even see him. There we go. I think that works pretty good. Oh, Ghost Spider. And the paint jobs and everything look real clean. Okay. That's all you need. It's just that limited articulation and some of the cheap plastics on these accessories. Right? Or even maybe a better design if you were going to make it that stiff. You could make it that stiff, but it's got to be form fitted better. They have a better attachment method. But you get what you pay for sometimes. I'm not super upset or anything. Oh, it just is what it is. Right? But I could only imagine, right? Like Venom's is kind of cool. I was kind of hoping that would last longer than just a couple times of use. But even here, right? Like I said, the colors on that one would bug me a lot. The green Waldos on Iron Spider-Man, that would bug me. But those will probably break quick too. Yeah, and green webbing and classic Spider-Man. I don't mind the black webbing for the black suit. They could have gave that to Venom too. Oh, you can't even see it. It's off camera. Right there. Black webbing on the black suit there. I don't mind that. But that's probably plenty of that. Okay. Leave this right here. I'm looking for somewhere to toss it. But yeah, other than the accessories, I got no real complaints because I knew what the articulation was. I was curious to see how stiff these were, how well they worked with the figures. Unfortunately, I can tell it's gonna snap probably the next time or two I put it on them because it really is stiff. I might find him just a way to put it in his hand. That's probably better, right? Because I don't want to break it. Maybe just have him holding it in his hand somehow here. And that'll be less damaging. Right, that works. It's not the best, but it works. Yeah, it's a mean looking Venom, that's for sure. Yeah, Miles, he even could have gotten like that spider bite blast he does, or any number of other accessories that they probably even have already molded up. And just make a few for the orders or whatever. But that's gonna be the video, I think. Like I said, these aren't the most fantastic figures. They're decent enough and they do the trick. Paints are really not terrible though, so I'm happy about that. I'm not seeing like a lot of spillover or funny spots, faded spots, thin spots. Marvel Universe especially had a lot of quality issues on their paints, as good as them figures looked sometimes. But that's about it, guys. I appreciate you coming by, hanging out with me. Keep playing with them toys. I'll talk to you again real soon.